Hi, everybody. Steve Wallace here. I'm going to talk to you today about the legal aspects of teacher evaluation. This is Module 8 in my EDL 851 class. I'm going to summarize a few articles first. The first one was an NEA article about teacher evaluation, and it is kind of looking at the transition with Common Core going to ESSA over the previous teacher evaluation tools. Basically, the power of how to evaluate teachers was kind of taken out of the federal government's hand and given to each state. And the evaluations could no longer be based completely on test scores were kind of the three big takeaways from that article. Education Week Courts article basically went through different court cases that were either in progress or completed in Florida, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, Tennessee, and Texas. For the most part, the states were winning those court cases that I had seen on that based on different litigation as far as how teachers are evaluated. And then another Education Week article kind of was a complete overview, as the title says, of where teacher evaluations have been and where they are currently. The gist of it is that we still don't know if the current teacher evaluation tools are working like we want them to. It gave a description of Republicans and Democrats. Republicans obviously want less funding in schools, and Democrats are teacher union supporters, and then the union, of course, wants to have strong say in how teachers are evaluated in the process. All right, our teacher evaluation process in our district, we use KEEP, which is the free teacher evaluation tool provided by KSDE, which is the Kansas Department of Education. So I think basically we chose that because it was free and because it has been evaluated and seen as a good tool to use as well. So the way that our evaluation process is in our district, you can see over here in this picture that the evaluation requirements. So you have an orientation, do a self-assessment and create our own goals as teachers. Then there is observations that happen and data collection. We then have a summative meeting about our evaluation, and then a final conference about face-to-face feedback and discussion on how we can improve as teachers and what we're doing well. Timeline for this, your first and second year, you're evaluated each semester, then third and fourth each year, and then once you're in your fifth year, once every 3 years. And this obviously gives very specific dates and timelines as far as when things have to be completed by. And it's an online tool, so it gives you updates and reminders as to what needs to get done, when it needs to get done. As far as the instructional practices protocol, there's 4 main things that they're looking at in the evaluation process. Learner and learning, content knowledge, instructional practice, and professional responsibility. And there's pages that go in depth into each one of these categories as far as what administrators should be looking at in the observations. What recourse does a teacher have regarding teacher evaluations? What can you do if you feel evaluation is inaccurate? What can you do if you feel they are unjustly being let go? I really struggled to find paperwork within our policies that actually stated exactly how this would work. Our school district says that non-renewal or termination shall be in accordance with Kansas law. So I looked up Kansas law. Kansas law states that teachers must be notified. The date is in May. It's the third Friday of May is when that teacher has to be notified. This is where it gets fuzzy for me because I know that under Brownback some laws changed, and I almost feel like I need to talk to a lawyer in order to understand exactly how this works now. So previously, if you were a tenured teacher, you could fall under due process and have a hearing as to whether to try to keep your job. Brownback and legislation in Kansas no longer has that. That does not mean the district cannot still have a due process part to that. So again, that's where it kind of gets hazy for me, and it doesn't state anything specifically in any documents I could find about our district about whether we do have any due process or not, because it just says we're following in accordance with Kansas law. And I read that, the Supreme Courts did not find that not having due process was not against any constitutional laws because teacher unions could still negotiate that in their negotiated agreement to have that. Citing a legal case, I chose one from my school district from not too long ago. This was put in the court system in 2014. The decision was made in 2015. Basically, set of administrators, superintendent, assistant superintendent, and one other district level admin was let go. Gil Haas filed suit. There's 9 different claims, but basically saying that his rights were violated and he was not fired for the right reasons nor given due process. One thing I found interesting reading this is that even the previous Kansas due process law, superintendents did not fall under that law. They would have had that separately in their contract. So I found that interesting for those people that ever want to become a superintendent. The case was dismissed. The judge said the plaintiffs failed to prove any of the claims. And again, I just chose that one. And I know that was administrator level, but still kind of going along the same frame set as that we were looking at as far as 3 people were dismissed from their job. They didn't agree. They were not given any due process. They didn't feel like, so they took it to the court system. So since this hits close to home, I kind of wanted to study up on it and see what it had to say. As far as reflecting on as a future school leader, I would definitely review the district policies with district administrators to make sure I knew exactly how we were doing things. Because like I said, if I was an administrator in our district currently, it's a very broad policy there. So I know there has to be more in-depth policies written somewhere. Review the state laws on teacher evaluation and dismissal and so on. Keep up on current court cases that are going on to know, what's going on, what are the courts saying, so we can make sure we're staying up to date. And then have a written policy that's easily found, including disagreements on evaluations, because I couldn't find anything about that, and dismissal due process laws. And I think they purposely keep it pretty broad, almost forcing you to have to reach out to your teacher union or a lawyer, which I found interesting. So this was a interesting look at teacher evaluation. As a teacher, you go through the process and you're just wanting to perform well. Sometimes you don't think about what all goes into it. So that's what I know, and appreciate you guys listening. Thank you.